Well, that was quite screwed up. Had to revalidate a whole bunch of stuff. All right, let's get this over here. Let's hit this. This is Geek News Central. My name is Todd Cochran, coming to you from the new media production studio. The lead stories: Elon Musk says Twitter to purge inactive accounts and followers may drop. Former head of Roscosmos now thinks NASA did not land on the moon. A consultant used ChatGPT to free up time so she could focus on pitching clients. She landed $128,000 worth of new contracts in just 3 months. The White House challenges hackers to break the top AI models at DEF CON 31. I want to welcome you to episode 1668 of the Geek News Central podcast for Monday, May 8th. This show is sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com and listeners just like you. Great deals from GoDaddy can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. You can support this show today at geeknewscentral.com/insider. Hey, I want to give a warm welcome to all the new listeners of the show. Thanks for checking the show out. Make sure you visit geeknewscentral.com. Follow or subscribe to the show via the main website. You can sign up for our newsletter on the main page as well. You can join our Mastodon chat server at geeknews.chat or our Discord channel. You can always reach out to me via email, geeknews@gmail.com, or at geeknews on Twitter. You can also follow me on Facebook just by searching for my name. Partner shows are all linked at geeknewscentral.com. Definitely check them out. The new media show, The Gadget Professor with Mr. Don Bain, the GNC Week in Review with Kirk, our executive producer, and his co-host Scott. Definitely check those out. All those links again are at geeknewscentral.com. Of course, this show is sponsored by the longest running continuous sponsor of our podcast. That's our good friends over at GoDaddy.com. You can save large by using my promo codes. Definitely check them out. All of them again are available on the website. And you can save, whether it be 30% off a new product purchase, $4.99 for a .com for brand new customers or those that may transfer one in. Again, new customers only. Then $1.99 a month economy hosting for the first year with a free domain. Again, $1.99 a month economy hosting for the first year with a free domain, or $2.99 a month managed WordPress hosting for the first year, again with a free domain name. The two absolute best deals in podcasting in the known universe. Two best hosting deals in the podcasting. Best deals available. Just go get them. And of course, you can get a free trial of GoDaddy website builder, your choice of personal business or business plus plans. That's 1 month free trial. Geek News Central listeners save an average of 94% per purchase of GoDaddy hosting accounts and an average of $3.50 on each GoDaddy domain name. These codes work, and you are supporting an independent team of writers and, of course, allowing me to keep the lights on. All the things that are possible that we do here is because of you. And we want you to continue to support the podcast to the best of your ability. Go over there and definitely check out geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Lock in the savings. Lock in savings today. Start something new, whether it be a e-commerce site, a blog, whether it be just a place to put up some stuff online. There's lots of opportunities, huge business opportunities via GoDaddy, and it really starts with a website and a domain name. Both are available here for that first year, either $1.99 a month or $2.99 a month, again with the free domain. Get her locked in, get her done. I want to thank GoDaddy for being a longtime sponsor here of the podcast. Of course, how's everyone doing? Hope you had a great weekend. It was absolutely beautiful. Enjoyed having the windows open, fresh air coming in. It was absolutely fantastic. Got a lot of things done here or there. So enjoyed it immensely. So really can't say much more than that. Back at the grind today here at the office and the studio. And going to take the show on the road a little bit here over the next couple of weeks. So that'll start next week. But lots of great things to do. But I tell you, we're going to get right into the content today. Keep it tight. And we are lit and live. If you're using one of those fancy, dancy new podcast apps at podcastapps.com, definitely check it out. We want you to get involved. We want you to be a part of our value for value platform here and supporting the podcast. It's really one of those situations where you show me whether or not you value the show. And if you value the show, then you use these new podcasting apps at podcastapps.com to boost the show, get a few Satoshis, and fire it up. We've had a few folks doing Satoshis by the minute. We appreciate those of you that have been doing that. And of course, oftentimes when those come in, you'll hear that sound right there that shows that you are contributing to the show via these new podcast apps. So get signed up, get done, and we want to thank all of you for ongoing support. We kind of knew this was coming. I think they announced it once before, but Elon Musk says Twitter is to purge inactive accounts and followers may drop. And considering how long I have had a Twitter account, had it from the beginning, really. I was on the initial wait list. It will be interesting to see how many of my Twitter followers no longer are active. There's an account I have on Twitter as well that I cannot revise. I've done everything in my power to revive the account. It's on we have no idea which email address is the backup. It doesn't recognize anything. It's drove me crazy. So I'm sure that one will become inactive. I'm not saying what the name is because it might be a chance for me to recover it. I don't know. We'll see. But still, lots of activity on Twitter. I've had high engagement over there. I don't know about you, but for me, it's been fantastic. Hey, by the way, if you are watching live today, make sure you check in and say hello. We definitely appreciate it when you do. Former head of Roscosmos now thinks NASA did not land on the moon. He said the Soviets were orbiting the moon when Apollo 11 landed. And he is leading another, instigation that we never went to the moon. But he was effectively fired from Roscosmos in July of 2022. And he doesn't have really unofficial ties anymore. But again, he's tapping into the current moon landing denialism, and it seems to be an increasingly in vogue to harbor doubts about whether NASA really could have pulled this off half a century ago. And he'd be more than happy to layer this into his vehement anti-Americanism, which he has. He's had many issues, and there's been many problems with him, and basically astronauts and everything that went along with it. So it's interesting that he is being it's not surprising. He mocked U.S. astronauts, repeatedly threatened to pull Russia out of the space station partnership, and attempted to use the international facility for propaganda purposes. And NASA was definitely thrilled to see him go again when he was fired last year. So, but won't stop him for saying what he's saying. I found this article to be pretty fascinating, where a consultant used ChatGPT to free up time so she could focus on pitching clients. And she talks about her process a little bit. She said the chatbot freed up time so she could focus on booking new business. And she was basically, she became fascinated and saw a lot of promise in it. And she's 29 years old. And she used tools in conjunction with ChatGPT like Midjourney and Presentation Maker Story D to really help her business. She identified parts of the business that were time-consuming, like marketing and drawing up proposals. And she used ChatGPT to market her firm through industry-specific articles and blog posts for platforms like Upwork and LinkedIn. She generated personalized business proposals and created an in-house training guide. And she said she freed up capacity to focus on crafting more business, and the utilization enhanced the overall capabilities, which in turn attracted new clients. So she said ChatGPT is like you have an extension of the team. I agree. So very, very cool. She says ChatGPT isn't perfect. There have been times when she saw the chatbot spit out outputs that were missing the mark, not comprehensive, or just too much. And so found workarounds from the faulty outputs. And she says it comes down to creativity, a skill she thinks is crucial to crafting the right prompts that yield the desirable results. And so anyway, kind of cool story about that. In a kind of surprising move, the White House has challenged hackers to break top AI models. And this is a surprising collaboration between top AI developers, including OpenAI, Google, Anthropic, Hugging Face, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and Stability AI, to evaluate the generative AI systems at DEF CON 31. Since last year's, the language LLMs, the large language models, again, it's a language model, have become popular, a way to accelerate writing and communication tasks, but officials recognize that also come with inherent risk, such as confabulations, jailbreaks, and bias pose challenges for security professionals and the public, and they endorse pushing these new generative AI models to their limits. This independent exercise, will provide critical information to researchers and public about the impacts of these models, and enable AI companies and developers to take steps to fix issues. So, in a parallel announcement written by AI Village organizer Steve Cattell, Ruman Chowdhury, and Austin Carson called the upcoming event the largest red teaming exercise ever for any group of AI models. Thousands of people take place and part of an AI model assessment, which will use an evaluation form developed by Scale AI. So, LLMs have proven surprisingly difficult to lock down, in part due to a technique called prompt injection, which was a story that was broke in September, where AI researcher Simon Wilson has written details about the dangers of prompt injection, a technique that can derail a language model in performing actions not intended by its creator. And during DEF CON events, participants will have time to access to multiple LLMs through laptops provided by the organizers. A capture the flag style point system will encourage testing a wide range of potential harms. At the end, the person with the most points will win a high-end NVIDIA GPU, and they'll publish what they learn. Very, very cool. So, have you got an electric vehicle? Do you know what the disadvantages are of owning an electric vehicle? Well, these are self-evident. One, if you tow something, much lower range. High battery replacement costs. Charging infrastructure still works, including this town. Takes longer to charge than to fill up. Limited range compared to traditional cars. Some are getting better, but some are getting worse. Winter driving reduces range. Higher purchase price than traditional cars. Well, some. Limited model selection. Well, that's pretty obvious. Limited number of Tesla service centers. And finally, not as engaging to drive. You just step on the gas pedal. But EVs, for a lot of people, are still great things to own. What say you? What is an advantage and what is a disadvantage of owning an EV? geeknews@gmail.com. geeknews@gmail.com is email address to send your commentary on this show. So is a netbook worth using in 2023? Can you breathe life back to your aging, I call them notebooks, netbooks? You know, I've been pretty lucky. I've gotten quite a bit of years out of machines. And netbooks were small laptops that were introduced in 2007. I had one from Dell and other companies. They featured screens around 9 to 10 inches, had Atom processors, pretty small hard drives, and it was a highly portable platform. And again, mostly designed for internet services and so forth, but they're very, very hard to upgrade, very, very hard to stay current. And of course, netbooks peaked between 2007 and 2013, but do you have one laying around? Can you still use it? Well, if you're looking to just have something that is going to run a browser, there's lots of Linux distros out there that have 32-bit. And is it worth using a netbook now? Well, maybe. But if you want to breathe life into your old netbook, link will be in the show notes. Western Digital hacked. Your deeply personal data might be stolen. The company's revealed the extent of a successful breach in March. It's bad. So, how serious? Serious enough that the company manually suspended its MyCloud service for over a week, during which customers lost all access to the remote files. 6 weeks later, the company has published results. According to an email sent, the company said that hackers obtained a database of customers containing name, phone numbers, shipping addresses, billing addresses, email addresses, partial credit card numbers. Password data was also stolen. Though the files were encrypted and hashed and salted, meaning the danger of those files is low. But the data appears mostly connected to Western Digital's online store, not the MyCloud service. According to Bleeping Computer, hackers showed evidence of at least some level of access to Western Digital network as recent as April 28th. So anyone with a Western Digital Store account or MyDrive account is encouraged to change their password. I've never used one of their services like that. Samsung has got FDA clearance for irregular heart rhythm notification. It's meant to enhance Samsung's existing EKG features and arrives later this year with One UI 5 watch. So Fit function is more similar to Fitbit's passive AFib monitoring that was introduced last year than the EKG spot check Apple introduced in Series 4. Unlike the EKG measurement, these irregular heart rhythms don't require the user to do anything. Once enabled, the Galaxy Watch will monitor for irregular heart rate rhythms. It will only alert a user once a certain number of consecutive measurements are found to be irregular. So there you go. Meta may end Facebook, Instagram news content from Canada. And this is what they're threatening. We've taken the difficult decision that if this flawed legislation is passed, and of course the legislation that they're talking about is legislation for social networking platforms to pay media publishers to feature their work. Clegg described Canada's proposed online news act as fundamentally flawed, said Canada would become the first democracy to put a price on free links to web pages, which flies in the face of global norms. Canada's act, known as Bill C-18, was proposed to establish a fair revenue sharing system between digital platforms and news outlets and provide for collective bargaining. So we'll see where this goes. Google is said to revamp search with AI chatbot videos. So the Google search experience remained roughly the same for years. Getting in the top search results has always been important. The blue links and so forth. But they've guided the development of other search engines like Bing and DuckDuckGo, but they may not be the star of the show for much longer. According to company documents, Google is planning to revamp the presentation of its search results by adding an AI chatbot, integrated videos, and more. The change is part of a larger effort to adapt to younger users' expectations. The Wall Street Journal reported that internal documents and other sources indicate a major shift away from what unofficially called the 10 blue links. While those links will still be there, results will focus on a conversational AI tool codenamed Maggie, as well as interactive video content. So we'll see where this goes. And but I think search is going to change dramatically here, and there's going to be winners and losers. Now, if you got enough money and you want the ultimate destination to get married, well, marriage in space. The company plans to be the first to offer this service. The ceremony would take place aboard a sustainable spacecraft called Neptune. So, very interesting. We already have people wanting to be the first marriage in space, so we'll see who is first. Similarly, would likely take place in the company's historic craft Neptune. Spaceship Neptune was developed by the most accessible, most sustainable, safest spacecraft on planet Earth. It comprises the space balloon, reserve descent system, and Neptune capsule. Unlike all other spacecraft where the crewed compartment separates from flight, Spaceship Neptune capsules remain secured to the space balloon the entire flight from liftoff to splashdown, creating a seamlessly safe and gentle flight. But how can it propel itself? Well, Spaceship Neptune is lifted to space by our space balloon propelled by renewable hydrogen with no rockets and none of the associated carbon footprint. Rather than blasting off, we slowly rise at 12 miles per hour, making the experience accessible to anyone to fly with a commercial airline. So, I guess they're not going to get super high, but we will see how this turns out and how much it's going to cost. So, cancer, it's ugly. Anyone that gets cancer, we know, is always life-changing. But what is the first known case of cancer? When was it really discovered? Well, the early evidence of human cancer comes from an early human relative who lived around 1.7 million years ago. And this species lived with a malignant tumor in their left toe bone. So nowadays, most common bone cancers in humans can occur at any age, although most frequently seen in children. An even older benign tumor was found in a 1.9 million year old human relative known as Australopithecus sediba, found in South Africa. So, mostly, obviously, in bone. And 30,000 BC, the ancient Egyptian mathematician, physician, and architect wrote what came to known as the Edwin Smith Papyrus, textbook about bodily trauma and surgical procedure. 3,000 BC, not 30,000 BC. He dealt 48 cases, including several cases on breast cancer. So, cancer's been around a long time, and we'd surely like to get rid of all of it. NASA is developing a snake-like robot to slither through a Saturn moon in search for life. And last fall, it underwent testing in Canada at a glacier. And basically, it's got a hook and all kinds of things. It tries to, basically slither around, and they're worried about crevices and so forth. So they're trying to get this thing put together to finalize the concept by 2024. And once it's ready to go, it'll take about 12 years for a spacecraft to carry the, what they're calling EELS, EELS, to the Saturn moon. But researchers hope that it would take only days for the robot to snake to reach the ocean once it finds its way into a vent in the icy crust. So we'll see what happens, but this is that's out there a little ways. Amazon's biggest TV shows could soon land on other streaming services. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Hunters, Boat Subsequent, Movie Film, and others can make their way to linear TV channels. So they're just basically, it's all about money. You have a good movie, you can sell distribution rights, earn a little money, even if it's not on your platform. Makes sense. Other platforms are doing this, so Amazon's joining the game. The White House says the airline system is melting down, so maybe we could at least get paid. They're doubling down on airline refunds with a new proposal to ensure passengers get refunded for hotels and meals and flights go sideways. So the question of who should pay for an airfare when things go right has been lingering in a while for now. But the new proposal, airlines would be responsible for refunding passengers for hotels meals, and other expenses when their flights get delayed or canceled under new administration. The push comes after a series of spectacular meltdowns. As an example, what happened with Southwest. Cancellation rate in 2022 was at 2.69%, which works out to 181,286 canceled flights. There are 1,376,000 arrival delays, a rate of 20.46%. And cash compensation when cancellation or delays result in passenger waiting 3 hours or more. Travel credit vouchers when cancellation results in passenger waiting 3 hours or more. Frequent flyer miles when cancellation or delays result in passenger waiting 3 hours or more as well. So, wow. And as to the question who gets what, how much, and when, will come down to how department defines controllable cancellation. The definition will be in the official rulemaking when it comes out eventually, but the overall purpose is to force the airlines to improve their on-time performance figure. Currently, no airline provides cash compensation for preventable cancellation or delays. Some will guarantee frequent flyer miles or hand out travel credits, so there's no legal requirement in the U.S. for airlines to provide cash compensation for delays or cancellations, but the EU requires airlines to pay up to 600 euros. Of course, the airline industry hates this idea, is lobbying against it. So, trying to crack it down. After all, the U.S. gave the airlines a lot of money to stay in business during COVID. So, time to pay the piper. The next-gen Apple Watch will purportedly get its first major CPU upgrade in years. The new chip CPU reportedly based on the A15 instead of the A13. So we will see. We will see in a future Apple event. PC World has an article that back it up. Most dead hard drives fail within 3 years. Wow. So in an original report, Secure Data Recovery came to a discovery by cataloging the details of 2007 faulty drives from 6 prominent manufacturers with capabilities ranging from 40 gig to 10 terabyte. And they said that Secure Data turns out that Backblaze 17,155 failed drives clocked an average age of 2.5 years, or a little bit less than the average 2 year and 10 months in the SDR report. The longest wearing drive survived for almost 5 years, while the shortest lived bit the dust in less than a year. So, Western Digital, it got the models. So, Western Digital, Seagate were the worst. Again, Seagate and HGST, yeah, these were the Seagate and HSD drives failed in the highest amount, followed by Western Digital. So, it's an interesting report here. And here's some higher manufacturer HGST, 4 terabyte drives, failure rate of drive days. So I just go into the full annualized failure rate. So 1.4% of the millions of drives out there in the world is still a big number, and you won't know if you fail into that unlucky group until your drive stops responding. So I've had a few drives on my NAS go sideways. I keep a spare NAS drive right on the side at all times. There's a spare drive ready to be stuck in. So, if the failure rate's around 1.4% for all drives to fail within 3 years, you might get lucky and you might not. I think it also has a lot to do with how you treat drives. Powering them down, not moving them until they've completely spun down, all these kinds of things. Make sure they're on tables that don't vibrate. I think it really makes a big difference on how long the drives last. White House pledges $140 million for 7 new AI research centers. So, who's going to get the money? The meeting coincided with an announcement from the White House 7 new AI research under the National Science Foundation. Whoa, probably going into the national labs. And releasing draft policies outlining how the government will use AI. There was a big discussion with Google, Microsoft, OpenAI, and Anthropic. It's not clearly it was discussed. The Biden administration said the conversation was to underscore this responsibility and emphasize the importance of driving responsible, trustworthy, and ethical innovation with safeguards that mitigate risk and potential harm to individuals and our society. So we'll see. Of course, it's all the hot buzzwords right now. Sony's latest portable party speaker also works with your TV. The SRS-V XV800 lasts up to 24 hours and offers karaoke features. I seen one of these once. They're not cheap, $650. They're big. They're big and put out a lot of sound. Can add deep bass and room-filling sound. I mean, it puts out some power. 25 hours of battery life from that bad boy. That's pretty amazing. In a pinch, a 10-minute charge will give you up to 3 additional hours of use. It's portable, but it's a beast. Again, it's big. It's like 32, 33 inches tall. I've seen them. They light up. They do all kinds of cool stuff, and they are loud. They will do a party on the beach, no problem, but for a very, very expensive price. Bank of Canada is asking for public feedback about a national digital currency. Although it says a digital Canadian dollar is not needed right now, it wants to be ready in case it ever is. So, very interesting. They want to move digital currency, and I talked to someone a couple days ago that worked at Chase, and I said, "What do you think? Do you think the government's going to push, digital currencies?" "Oh, there'll always be room for cash. They'll never force us to digital." Well, at least Canada's asking about feedback. Doesn't necessarily mean what they're going to do. As Canada Central Bank, we want to make sure everyone can always take part in a country's economy. That means being ready for whatever the future holds. The bank cites diminishing use of cash, potential competition with cryptocurrencies, and national economic stability as reasons to prepare for the potential shift. They don't mention tracking every penny you take in, spend, donate, whatever. They don't care. This all boils back, ladies and gentlemen, to about control and knowing what you do. Be careful. Fight it. Fight it. Fight it. Fight it. Article from the U.S. Army. The U.S. Army has long sought to give its soldiers connected tech edge and has finally settled on a vendor to deliver a much-needed piece of hardware to connect the various smart wearable it plans to fields. It's called the Next Generation Hub, a rugged wearable USB device. Will serve as the control nodes for the Net Warrior system, the U.S. Army's latest network-connected kit for infantry troops. Net Warrior is designed to use commercial smart devices with tactical applications networked through integrated tactical network. Net Warrior uses its own tactical assault kit software system and application to deliver map-based situational awareness for individual soldiers and their squad mates. It's a cross app platform with apps developed for Android, Windows, Linux, and web browsers. The system is designed to operate across military branches in cooperation with the federal government and host nation partner operations. So, ding, 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 ding. Someone's getting some good money. It's being reported Alphabet will unveil AI updates at Google I.O., showing off creative writing and coding capabilities. And so when does this Google I.O. event? Oh, it starts on Wednesday of this week. So we'll have some stuff to talk about then on Thursday, won't we? More stuff on that on Thursday. T-Mobile suffers second data theft within months. For those counting, this makes the 7th incident in 5 years at the provider. Though this one is small compared to there's 37 million subscribers whose data leaked in January. Only 836 customers were caught up in this one. So, anyway, there you go. T-Mobile. Coinbase CEO says the SEC is on a lone crusade, and his dials back suggestion the exchange may relocate. So basically, I've said this already, and it comes out from what's going on with the administration. He said the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission Chief Gary Gensler Monday, he doubled down on his criticism of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission Chief Gary Gensler Monday, but added the exchange would not leave the U.S. despite regulatory uncertainty the company is facing in this country. And they've been under intense regulatory scrutiny in the U.S. lately following a grim year for crypto. The SEC earlier this year served Coinbase with a Wells notice, a letter that the regulator sends to a company or firm at the conclusion of SEC investigation that states the SEC is planning to bring an enforcement action against them. At the heart of the regulator's dispute with Coinbase and a host of other crypto companies, the allegation of selling unregistered securities to investors. He says the SEC is a bit of an outlier here. They're kind of on a lone crusade, if you will, with Gary Gensler, the chair there. He has taken a more anti-crypto view for some reason. I don't think he's necessarily trying to regulate the industry as much or maybe curtail it, but he's created some lawsuits. And I think that's quite unhelpful for the industry in the U.S. writ large. But it's also an opportunity for Coinbase to get the clarity from the courts that we feel will really benefit the crypto industry and also the U.S. more broadly. He rode back his suggestions that he would may be forced to move the headquarters overseas. I would say we're seeing more thoughtful approach for instances in the EU. They've actually already passed comprehensive crypto legislation. The UK has been incredibly welcoming, and for us there, and that's been a hub where we decide to serve the UK market. At a fintech conference in April, he said that Coinbase may consider relocating. So Armstrong said Coinbase is looking to increase its international investment. So there you go. Very, very interesting discussions about crypto, which I think, to be honest with you, I think he's right. I think they want to reduce crypto. They don't like it. All right, folks, that's the end of this show. Geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com, @geeknews on Twitter. Don't forget about our sponsors. Primarily GoDaddy, obviously. geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. If you are a fan of this show and you would like to get involved in a very exciting way to support the show, again, podcastapps.com. Grab yourself a new podcast app. Participate in the value for value model with this show and others. Again, we want you to get on board. Get rid of that legacy app. Go over there and get set up. Either treasure, time, or talent is the value for value model. Talent, we got listeners of the show that contribute their talent, contributing artwork, others that contribute time. Treasure is the most valuable thing of that commodity, obviously. Treasure being your dollars, either through PayPal donations, becoming an insider. That's part of the value for value. Those of you that are on an insider, you're participating in V4V with sustaining contributions to the show. Those that come in and do one-time donations, you're contributing to the value for value model. Those that donate micropayments through crypto, or big payments through crypto, again, you're participating in the value for value model. So it's treasure, time, or talent. And we thank you so much for being here. Be back with you with another show. Everyone take care. We'll see you next time here on the Geek News Central podcast. Everyone take care. Bye-bye.